friends, welcome to Gratitude Collab. This is an open collaboration hosted by Cindy A. Lewis and me. All right, friends, so today we are going to prep the gratitude journal, and you can see here that this is a book that I am altering. It's perfect, it's orange. You can see that I have removed a lot of pages. I left a few extra pages because I thought maybe, you know how you can take two pages that are next to each other and turn it into a pocket? I thought I might do that. But if I decide I'm not going to do that, I can always remove that page and give myself more room for embellishments. That's the thing with an altered book. You don't want it to be a gator mouth, at least not too much. Sometimes we can't help it a little bit, but you don't want it to be like, you know, this. I mean, that would be ridiculous. So we've got to be careful when we do an altered book, unless we're going to go ahead and increase the spine. But I don't want to do that with this book because it's perfect. It's just perfect. So the trick is going to be for me to go ahead and get these pages, these digital pages. I'm going to glue them inside of my altered book. Let me get myself situated. Hold on. There are 18 total collaborators, including myself and Cindy. And so please check everybody out. We have Annie Creates, BB's Closet Creations, Caroline on the Hillside, Fashionably 50-something and Beyond, Hand Stitched by Carol, Kentucky Crafter, Colita's Creations, Let's Design Creative, Lilo Crafts, Madeline Deet Designs, Maria's Miscellany, Martha Makes Art, Raven Vintage CA, Scrapbooks and Memories, and Sweet Pea Papers. So friends, I wanted to share with you that this is the digital kit that I'm going to be using for the collab. Let me finish showing you the kit in total real quick. Now there are 4 freebies and they are available in Cindy's Facebook group and my Facebook group. Cindy's Facebook group is Cindy A. Lewis, Junk Journals and Crafts, and mine is Creating with Jovi, Journals and Crafts. So feel free, go over there. We will make sure to pin them at the top of the page in both of our groups and grab yours. And then if you want this kit, that is available in my Etsy shop. So you can grab it and play along. Cindy and I have prompts for each week, as you can see here. They'll also be listed in both of our description boxes. I'll try to make sure that I post them also on Instagram, in my Facebook group, and here on YouTube in my community tab. But I'll read them out loud as I'm going through these papers for you. And by the way, I wanted you to know I printed these out a little bit small. You can see the large white space on the outside, right? I did that so that when I cut them, they will fit into this altered book. So that's why there's so much white space around the edge. And that's the beautiful thing about digital kits. You can you can print them out as small or as large as you want to, just so you know. All right, now back to our prompts. This week's prompt is favorite thing about where you live. So you can share your gratitude about where you live. And okay, hold on, before I move on, these are pieces that I might end up using in here, but this is from my fall kit from last year, just so you know. I'll show it to you real quick, but just so that you know it's not part of this year's kit, but it's still available in my Etsy shop. I had these left over and I thought, you know what, I'll go ahead and just put them in the pile of my crafty stuff so that I can grab them and use them if I want to. It's such a cute kit last year with little critters, and I just, yeah, so cute. Now this is from this year's, so matter of fact, is this a freebie? I'm not sure. But anyway, this is either one of the freebies or it's the kit, and same with this. I'm sorry, my brain is still a little, I'm getting better. I'm getting rested and caught up. But at the time of filming this, you know, I had recently just gone through some hurricanes, and on top of that, some other stuff that I've been dealing with. So it's just been a lot. So I'm trying to get my act together for you guys and for myself. So anyway, week 2, what are you looking forward to this month? So share your gratitude about something upcoming and, you know, maybe your experience in the past, or maybe it's something new. And then week 3 is what is your favorite season of the year and what is your favorite thing about it? I think most of us do have a favorite season. And then name 3 things that you're good at. And I really want you guys to to get into this one, because something that I'm learning as I'm going through my stuff that I'm going through right now is we really need to value not only the things that we're good at, but the things, our character traits. And sometimes those of us with childhood trauma, we don't tap into that enough, and we don't give ourselves those positive messages enough. So let's all, build each other up and build ourselves up, okay? So anyway, enough about that. Let's get started. Okay, I've got my act together now. Okay. So it's been so long since I altered a book, and I'm so super excited to be doing this. Just really, really excited. So what we're going to do, and just in case you don't know, basically for an altered book, you remove 7 pages, leave 1, or you can remove 8 pages, leave 1. And that's how you do it. Now, a book like this that's glued together, I went in with a razor pen and would just slice the page and then gently pull it out. And, you got to be careful because you don't want to slice too many pages, so you kind of figure it out, right? So that's what I did, and I tried to leave the pages that had, or at least some of the pages that might have had pictures, and some of them I'll cover, but if they're fun, like this one's good, and then even this first page is beautiful with this foliage here. It's berries. That's just absolute perfection. So, as we go through and we add this, we'll see if we need to remove some. But, I just thought, here's another one. I just think that's great. If I can leave it in. If I can't, whatever. Okay, so there we go, my friends. So what we're going to do is I want to go ahead and leave this the way it is, because I can go ahead and write, my name in that. This is my gratitude journal if I'd like to. So I'm going to keep this for myself, obviously. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a piece of paper, and I'm pretty sure I got the size correct. And it's okay if this is a little smaller than this. That's perfectly fine. And you know what I might do? I might go ahead and, instead of cutting, I was going to cut it and make it perfect, but I think I'll tear it. That'll add more interest. These pages are beautifully browned, and I just think that'll be fun and look really good. So let's do that. Let's get started. I'm going to grab a ruler. And as you can see right here, you can see the missing pages right here. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm going to tear this to size and then tear it in half, and then there'll be 1 on each page. All right, so that's what we're going to do. I will show you, gosh, I'm really tempted, actually, I'm really tempted to freehand tear this thing, just because it just looks so good when you do that. But you know what? Let's fold it inside out. Oh, I don't even know if that's helpful. I'm trying to fold it straight in the middle. Here we go. I can see it from the side because I can see through the paper. So I think right there is going to be pretty good. Let me just get it straight. I think we are in pretty good shape on that. Folding it in half, right? And then what I'm going to do is we're going to try this one. We're going to do a little freehand tear. I'm using my finger so it doesn't get too wild, but it's a little more crooked than what the ruler will do. The ruler makes a pretty crisp tear, quite honestly. It gives you a little bit of fringe, but it's a pretty crisp tear. So this way I can, I can even go deeper if I want to, and then pull it back out to the edge just to give it that interest. And then once I get this done, there we go. I can ink the edges. I can ink them with stamp pad. I can ink them with magic marker, or I can leave them as is. And I don't know what I want to do yet. But what I do know is that I want to take this, I'm going to fold it back in half where it was, and I'm going to try it on for size. And as long as we're covering the words, I think we're good. And actually, if we don't cover all the words sometimes, I think that's good too. It adds a lot of interest. This is perfect. So now I know my middle tear is going to be pretty straight because I had to fold the paper, but that's okay. We will embrace the straightness. There's a little bit of a fringe, like I said there. Oh, there we go. We got that a little bit crooked. And then we'll pop it on there just to make sure everything looks good. And this is how it's going to go. There we go. Yeah, that's going to be super nice. So now I have to decide what glue I want to use. So we have our choices. We have our, let me show you. Oops, I'm sorry, Andrew. I just bumped Andrew's knee. We have one choice that is a glue stick, which if I was going to make one of these to sell, I probably wouldn't go that route just in case it didn't hold for a long time. We also have the option of, if I can find it, our tacky glue, which I'm probably going to end up using this. But our final option, believe it or not, is brushing on some Mod Podge, and that is possible. I don't know what I want to do. Let's go ahead and start. Let's experiment, okay? And let's go ahead and start with the Aleene's tacky glue because I know I can trust it, and it shouldn't be too complicated. And it should do a fairly good job, especially if I use a little spatula to spread it out. So let's experiment with it. Now, I also could use a spatula to spread out the Mod Podge so that it wouldn't be too thick. And that might be, you know, because I can brush that on, that might be a better choice. But let's start with this one. You know what? Here's what we'll do. We'll experiment with each one of them. And that'll be great. We'll just experiment with each one and see which one we like. And of course, I'm not going to be able to tell if glue stick holds, you know, right away. I can't tell you guys about that because of course it's going to hold right away, but is it going to hold in 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years? That part I don't know. But we can't control everything, right guys? Okay, here we go. We're going to pop this down. I'm just centering it. I want to see where the page number is there, so I'm going to pull this one up a little higher just so it's kind of even with the other one. I love that there is some space between, hold on, I'm looking for my spatula. I love that there's some space between the digital print and the book spine. I like that. I don't like my papers to get all up in the spine. It can create a problem, so I do like to give a little breathing room there. I just had a little bit of glue squirt right out. There we go. Let me get that on the edge there. Well, at least we know that edge is going to be glued down really nicely. All right, there's that one. Okay, that was pretty easy, and I definitely feel like I got enough glue on it that'll stick. Right here at the very edge, there's a little bit coming up. It's not going to like be a problem, but it's just because I didn't get the glue right up there on the edge. All right, so that's looking pretty darn good. I like it. Now, just for fun and experiment, let's go ahead and do the Mod Podge. Actually, should we do this first? Let's do this first because it's less messy. Let's do this one, and then we'll see how we like that. It might be, you know, glue stick dries pretty quick actually, guys, which we like that when we're working in a situation like this and working on book pages that you want to be able to move on quickly. So we like that, but we just definitely want a good permanent stick. Now I have to say, to my surprise, this brand that I'm using, which I have an entire box of, which is fabulous. I bought it all while it was on clearance. But this brand, it sticks very nicely. So I haven't had a problem with that. I do believe that some glue sticks are better than others. And I just do believe that. So here we go. I got that wet. And before it dries, I want to go ahead and get some right here, just in case I missed anything on the actual kit page. So we're going to put this down. I'd like the page number to show through. There we go. Oh, hold on. I want to cover the words if I can. All right, let's put it down right here. Enough messing around. That's going to dry on me if I keep messing with it, right? So we're just going to press this down just to make sure we get air bubbles out and we get some good adhesion. And then if I notice any corners that need a little extra, and I already do, we'll go ahead and do that. All right, so I see this right here. Definitely get that. I'll just lift it up a little bit and rub it like that, and that should glue that down real good. There's a little edge here too, so I'll try to just get my glue stick under there. Now the whole page wouldn't lift up, but I do like to have my edges down. I'm just funny about that. If you're a person that, you don't mind it if your corners are sticking up, then yeah, don't worry about it. Move on. No big deal. This one looks good. Yeah, just the tiniest bit. All right. Okay, so there it was, the glue stick. I have to say it was pretty quick. It was pretty easy to do that, and it will most definitely dry sooner than this one will. So we'll come back and have a look at them, but let's move forward. Let's skip this page. Don't know what I want to do here. So for now, we're going to skip it. And it looks like I've removed 7 here. I don't know if I really want them. Yeah, you know what? We'll skip that. We'll skip it. I might keep them. I might not. Whatever. I'll go ahead and cover her. So let's cover these 2. Okay. So just so that you can see how, just in case you didn't know, if you haven't done this before, I'll go ahead and trim this one with the ruler so you can see what a nice crisp line it leaves. Super easy to do. Like I said, a little fray, but not a ton. I didn't put my digital stack in any particular order, so I'm not really worried about what order they go into the book in. That is irrelevant to me. But you could get them in order if you had a really specific particular plan, of course. All right, so here's this one. Now, so that we know, I think this is the top right here, so that we know where the middle is, we're gonna fold that in half. And there we go. So these are next, and I guess we're gonna go in with the Mod Podge. Now we know the Mod Podge is gonna be a bit wetter, but let's give it a try and see if we like it or not. I must have liked this because it's got a picture on it. So what we'll plan to do is turn this into a pocket. All right, I got my big circle cutter. And what I'm gonna do, make sure I only have the 2 papers, right? And I'm gonna put them together, and I'm sort of gonna stand them up about here because I want it to be even so that when it goes this way or it goes this way, there won't be a lot of pulling. So I figure, and I don't know if this makes sense or not, it does to me, but I figure if I sort of do it in the neutral zone, we should be okay. And then of course, this is the top, but this is the bottom. And I want to be able to see how far in I'm going. So what I usually do is there's 2 dots right here, and I'll usually, when I want to make just a small little pinch, I'll just get my paper to those 2 dots, and that way it makes it even, as long as I can. Sorry if my head's in the way, I just want to be able to see what I'm doing, just so it looks even. I don't want it to like look crooked, right? Which is hard to do the way I'm doing it, but let's go for it. I think it looks okay. Oh gosh. Okay. Now what we're gonna do, before we do anything else, we're gonna go ahead and glue these 2 pages together. We're just gonna glue the top and the bottom, because obviously we want a tag or something to fit into the center of it. I was pretty liberal with my glue, so I'm thinking some of it's gonna squeeze out, which is fine. All right, my friends, so I got this done. I'm not gonna pull it open. I'm just gonna show you it does open, but we're just gonna go ahead and let that dry, and then we're gonna move on. Now, so what I was thinking, I have a certain number of papers here, and I have a bunch of papers that, of course, I could pull from my stash and put in here if I had more of these pages than these pages. But I thought what I might do, just to make sure I don't get myself in a pinch, is do one in the front, do one in the back, do one in the front, do one in the back. So this we're gonna leave as is. This I'd love to leave as is. Look at the coloring here, it's beautiful. This is plain, so let's leave it. We can start by covering right here. So, and then we'll flip back to the front. How does that sound? I think that's a good plan. So since I already did this with you once, I'll go ahead and tear this and get it ready. and I'll go ahead and glue it down. Forgot that I had agreed to go ahead and experiment with the Mod Podge. So we've got our Mod Podge, we have our papers, and we're gonna go ahead and put those down with that. So I'm gonna grab my foam brush. I prefer to work with a foam brush. So let me grab one. This one's fine. These are not huge pages, so this size is fine. And then I'm also gonna preemptively grab my spatula. Now, this is a little bit small, but I don't wanna use this one because this is the one I sort of press things down with, and I don't wanna get it messy. This one's pretty small, but you know, it'll move stuff around for me, right? And it's silicone, so nothing will stick to it. All right, I'm thinking, I just don't know. I'm thinking I'll do it right here on the book page. If some gets on the book page, it doesn't matter. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I do apologize if I'm not making perfect sense today. I'm trying my very best. But my brain, I think I mentioned it earlier, you know, it's still a bit foggy from fatigue and whatnot. So I will be getting back to normal shortly. I'm just not there yet, and that's okay. So when you use Mod Podge or any liquid glue like this, less is more, okay? If you put too much on, it's gonna smear things, it's not gonna dry, it's just a problem. So just always remember, less is more. Trying to get it on as straight as I can. There we go, okay. And actually, you know, I did that thin enough. I actually really liked that application. I feel like it was pretty thorough. If we have a corner that happens to be sticking up for whatever reason, I can just go in with this and get it, or let me check the other one. And I put it on so thin, honestly, that may have dried before I even laid the paper down. That's definitely possible. I can go in with my brush with the Mod Podge and just put that down. So I think that that's not too bad. And I feel like I'm gonna dip just a little bit more, not too much. It's about time for me to refill this. I bought a huge container, so I end up just refilling it. But I can go right under here with the brush and get that, and then just push that down. And if there's a little excess, I can just wipe that off. That's no big deal. Or go over the edges with it or whatever. Get my corner here. Yeah, you know what? that didn't bother me one bit to use the Mod Podge. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's do that on the other one. I'm gonna put my top on my glue stick so it doesn't dry out. You know how that happens. All right, we're gonna go for this one. And if you do it as thin as I do, yeah, it might dry quicker, but I'd rather have it dry quicker than end up with a goopy mess. That's just how I prefer it. Whoops. So if you collage with Mod Podge, now you can collage with a glue stick and it works great, honestly. But if you do use Mod Podge, that's fine too. Just again, go thin with it. You don't have to get crazy with it and put too much on. All right, let's give this a try. Sort of like the ease of being able to get under there with my brush. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. Now, just as a preventative measure, since we're going to go back to the front, I'd like to go ahead and put something in here until those pages dry. So I happen to have this from some Happy Mail I got not too long ago. And that's perfect. Nothing's going to stick to it. So what we'll do is we'll just use it. It happened to be laying on my desk. That's why I chose it. I'm going to flip this back over. And then those can dry and they won't end up sticking together. So I think that's what we'll do there. And we're going to leave this here. All right, so I can see that there are 7 pages missing here. So I'll go ahead and use this for this side. And I think that matches nicely. I could check to see if there's something else that also matches nicely. For example, this has some greenish blues in it, which coordinates nicely. So let's go ahead and use this. And we'll go ahead and use the ruler to tear I got a little drop on there, so maybe I should do this. This wouldn't be my first choice every time because you don't know how big your paper is, but because I dropped some, we're just gonna go with it, not worry about it, and then we'll just go around the edges if we have to. So I don't think I went up that high with the glue, but let's check. Yeah, so we're gonna go around this edge here. All right, so I've got some wax paper that I can tuck right here. Turn that page right there, just kind of get that, press that down. That can do whatever it is gonna do, and I'm gonna go back over here. We're checking on this. And that's actually starting to feel dry, which is great. What I've done is I got all the pages mostly prepped. Oh, if you hear some wind chimes, I got the windows open. It's nice out, 75 degrees, a real treat in Florida. So anyway, I got the pages in, but I thought what we would do is, I wanted to show you, I put a spare book page that I pulled out in between, so when it's drying all the way, because it's not 100% dry, I would rather have glue stick to a book page than stick to each other, right? So I've got that in between. But there's a few pages in here, so this one we cut and we can open it and stuff that with something to journal on perhaps, or a tag. That one's basically ready to go for the next steps. All right, so I added pages of tissue paper that I just got from my friend Gwen Offit. And she has, her little business is Gwen Offit Designs, and she sells through Etsy and Instagram. Well, she shows off her stuff on Instagram and sells through Etsy, so just so you know. So at any rate, this is where I got this, and I thought it was such a pretty color. It's pretty neutral, so I thought I'd go ahead and put that in here. So this, I do believe, is dry enough that we can tear it away. I kind of like the effect when we tear our tissue paper away, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. This page can be directly written on if we want, because it's lightened the words up enough so that you can write right over top of it. I am going to go ahead and peel the center away. So I probably won't do much to this page, maybe a little embellishment or something, but it doesn't really need anything else. But we'll see, you know, when we get to it. So that page is done and ready. This one needs to be prepped as well. So this was paper napkin that I put over top of the, dang it, and there was a second layer. Okay, so this is why we have to make sure, guys, that we get all the layers off the napkin. So let me try something. Let me do this, and let me see if I can peel this up. I'll actually glue it right back down. Don't know if I'm going to be able to. I can glue it right over the written layer, or if it starts to tear, which it's starting to, so some of the glue soaked through. So what I'll do now, I'll go ahead and glue this part down, and then we'll be okay, because we'll have 2 layers of glue on it, and it'll be perfectly fine. So that's our plan for that. So we'll just push that right back down. And then I'm gonna need to get up under this edge, I feel like. Let me see. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this dry all over again, and then I'll come back and tear that. But that's a great thing that you guys got to see happen, because, you know, I always say, oh, there's always, you know, usually there's 3 layers of a napkin. And for whatever reason, I actually thought I had gotten this layer off. Let me see. Let me get my tape and see if I can pull that one up a little bit, just so I can get some glue in there. You know, it kind of makes sense because the book page type didn't show through the napkin like it usually does. So... okay, so I'm just going to pull back what will sort of voluntarily come, and I'll glue that, and then I think we'll be okay once we do that. Just gently pulling it back till it starts to tear, basically. That's about it. All right, so let's go ahead and we will get rid of the loose of the other layer. Just get rid of that, get that out of the way. Doesn't matter if there's wrinkles in it. I kind of like the wrinkles. It gives it a little character. I was going to come back, but I think I'll tear now while it's still sort of fresh and just sort of make it messy. We've done it, guys. Okay, well, I'm kind of glad that that happened because napkins usually do have 3 layers, and I had definitely gotten the first layer, didn't get the second one. And I honestly, when I pulled this napkin out of my cabinet, I didn't actually check. So that is the proof in the pudding that we need to, you know, double check. So that one's ready to go. That one's done. This is probably dry. You know what? I'm just gonna leave this in here overnight just in case. We got our squirrel page, and we got a little napkin. No, we have a little popkin. No, we have a pocket. And then we have this piece that needs to be trimmed a little bit, and hopefully the glue is dry enough that I can trim it and it's not going to cause a problem, but let's find out. There we go, perfect. Alrighty, so there's that. Nice pocket, and our page on the next. I can feel still a little bit damp, so we're gonna keep this in here. Okay, so, and this is what I'm talking about. You see how that stuck to this? Because I got like a little dab of glue here, and I didn't realize it, so maybe I'm gonna remove this and I'll put the wax paper in. So what I did here, this flips up. Don't know what the rest of it that I'll do, but this is a book page that I wanted to not pull out of the book, so I wanted to keep that in there. More wax paper, but this page here is a pocket. As you can see, I tried to do several of those. This is just going to be a page to stop and look at. Okay, it's got a great message here. You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody, Maya Angelou. So that's just going to be a nice resting place for our eyes. So see, I'm so glad I put the book page in, because see how that glue caught on there even though I thought I had wiped it clean. So we're going to keep that in. And we have the flowers. They're dark, so I figured it'd be fine for fall even though they're flowers. So this page is also glued a little bit, so we're going to leave that in there. And what I'll do when I set it to dry, I'll stand it up and give a little air between the pages, but I'm still going to leave these in. So anyway, this is another decorative page. I'll probably do more, but everything needs to dry before I do. Here's a pocket here. And then here is another page with the scrapbook kit, or the paper pack, or the printable, whatever you want to call it. This I did lined paper, just old, really old lined paper. You can see how it's got yellow on it, which is great. And you know, I'll decorate that up. I think I'll have enough room in here to be able to do that. Oh yeah, so this is another napkin page. Let's see if we can pull this off successfully. Yep, that's coming off very nicely. I have had this napkin in my stash for 4 years. I had used part of it, but it was so nice to use the remaining napkin today, and I just thought the colors were good. The theme doesn't really matter. The colors were good, and I can work with that. So we're just tearing it away now that the glue is dry. There we go. Alrighty, moving along. Okay, so here is another page that I did with the tissue paper. So let's go ahead and pull this away. All right, we got that one done. I love this page, one of my favorites. Oh, this one's plain, and I think, you know what, we'll leave it plain, because while we're doing the gratitude collab, I might, you know, decide I want something particular or special to go there. And then these are the plain pages in the back. So this is our gratitude altered book so far. And there's lots of, well, I can't say lots because the space goes quickly, but there's a pretty good amount of space for adding. So I'm very excited about it. So thanks for prepping with me today, my friends. I'm pretty sure that the next video will be the first day of the collaboration, and you'll be able to see what I'm grateful for. Thanks for watching. See you soon.